ultimately is the address the root causes. The root causes.
We don't have any. Mother Nature is going to say, you guys can keep playing if you want, but you know what, guys? You don't have the time clock here. I do. You've got 8 years to reduce your emissions of global warming emissions by the year 2020, a minimum of 50%, and the estimates I trust the most still say 80%. So we can achieve that if we reduce our emissions between 6 and 8% per year, starting in 2012 and at the latest 2013. And there is not anyone that I know on the stage that is talking about doing that. They're talking about the need to do it, but if you try and engage them in a discussion of, okay, all right, I believe what you're saying, how are we going to do it? You just emptied the room.
Right.
Well, I'm standing alone with some support from my brothers and sisters in Occupy, but so far I'm standing alone. And I expect to finish my part of this alone. I expect to blaze this trail. I expect to no longer be alive 4 weeks from now. I'm not married to that. What I'm married to is that this is going to end on my watch. And what I'm married to is that what will stop it is 1,000 people showing up here in front of the Canadian Embassy and saying, we will happily die here until we get the, and by the way, the Canadian Embassy is just a good backdrop. This is U.S. policy that we're going for.
Right.
Adding the wreckage cost to our coal that comes out of the mine, our oil that comes out of the ground, our oil that comes into a port, our products that come into a port. So this is a national policy. Canadian Embassy, however, is a great backdrop. I'm going to do my part. If someone shows me a better way, I'll do that. But there isn't a better way. This is the way. I can't make 1,000 people show up, but I can blaze the trail. And maybe it will cause some others to think, do I really, if there are 1,000 people in this country that love humanity more than they love their own life, they will come here, they will join this whether or not I'm still alive, and most of them will not be allowed to die until it shocks the conscience of this country, and they say, this is fricking insane. Wind and sun are the same price as coal and oil, and I'm allowing this to be a social welfare state for our coal and oil companies to destroy my children's future? No, this is crazy. I want this legislation. 1,000 people wouldn't be allowed to die. I'm going to blaze that trail. What kind of a human being would I be not to do that?
It's something that should be celebrated. Your generosity of your sacrifice for your cause. I have 2 questions that I'm hesitant to ask. If you don't care to answer them, that would be fine.
Go for it, man. Go.
Where do you find the strength of your commitment? What is the source of the strength of your commitment?
It's a great question, brother, and I am as an obvious student of nonviolent actions that have had any import throughout history. I believe that I'm speaking for any successful movement there's ever been. I wish I had a nickel for every time someone has said to me, you know, I really appreciate your standing up for your cause. You can't do this standing up for a cause. Gandhi spoke of, you know, people would say, Gandhi, what is the power you're trying to tap into? What is satyagraha? What is truth force? What is soul force? And there were very few times that he was really pushed long enough to get to the root of it. But if you study his writings in detail, as I have, you can finally find places where he's pushed to the ground and he says, okay, what I'm talking about is the love of a mother for her child. And a healthy mother will sacrifice her life for her child. She doesn't think of it as sacrifice. She will happily give her life for the life of her child, right?
Right.
The only place that this strength can come from is the connection of one human heart to other human hearts. So we can understand that a mother would sacrifice, would allow herself to perish so that her child could have a life, correct?
Correct.
The studies are clear. There is no hard wiring that has anything to do with biological relation. A Gandhi and a king simply had the kind of heart that we were all born to have. Everyone was their family. Everyone was their brother. Every life they experienced as part of their own. Another person's joy was their joy. Another person's pain was their joy, was their pain. The inhumanity of the vile racists in the civil rights movement was the pain of Dr. King and the co-workers. So I have developed devices. I am in the final the final days of writing a book to try and help others that want to do what I've done, which is to reshape myself into the kind of human being that I wanted to be. Gandhi's famously said, "Be the change you want to see in the world." You know, I don't know that he ever elaborated that, but if someone said to you, be the person that could climb Mount Everest, that probably wouldn't conjure in your mind that you were going to sit down for an afternoon and think what that meant. What you were going to do was set yourself to a 6, 8, 10, 12-month regimen or longer of creating yourself into someone that could climb and survive climbing Mount Everest, correct?
Correct.
We know by now that, I don't know what the percentage is, but let's say 50% of being a world-class activist is work in the mind. It's reshaping the nervous system. It's focused learning. It's focused imagery. Well, this second book is to put in words my answer to your question of how does one return to sanity. And I'm happy to throw out that challenge. Anyone that thinks it's insane, that I would joyfully be saying, I am happy to pay my life to stand in the way of Armageddon for the next 2,000 generations. To me, that's a classic, that's the perfect test of sanity. Those that say I'm insane, I have nothing to say to you, brothers and sisters. Those that would say, wait a minute, is he the one that's insane? Or am I the one that's insane? Why the hell wouldn't that be worth my life? 200 billion people? To me, that's it, brother. That's what it comes down to. And I'm writing a book to... So I had those inclinations since I was a young child because I saw it in my father, and through that I saw it in the man, not the deity, but the man, Jesus. But seeing it and seeing the inclinations and clawing my way back to it in being in the most selfish, greedy, cowardly country that we've ever had. If Pearl Harbor happened today, I don't know that we'd stand up and put on uniforms and fight it. I think we'd talk about it for the next 5 years until there were German flags over the country. That's how dehumanized we've become. So having the inclination was one thing. Setting my mind to becoming that person was a daily regimen, is a daily regimen. And in the book, which should be on both of my websites, just Google Start Loving or Google Tracking Plan B, it'll take you to those sites right to the top. You'll see a link to my first book, which I highly recommend, Global Warming's Death, period, Fast, which is all about the strategy, the ecology, the messaging, the unviolent warfare strategy of this death fast, this death strike. And the second one on reclaiming the humanity of the freedom riders, of the Tahrir Square people. And if you don't think that's humanity, if you don't want the joy and the heart and the human connection of that, don't waste your time. But if you have the inclinations that I do, that I wanted to be that kind of person, I'll tell you, friends, I wish I could point you to other books that could get you there, but those can.